How am I going to move past this? Like, it's happening for a reason. You're being prepared for something bigger. You're being prepared for something greater. So you just have to believe that. You have to have faith. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Tong. Thank you for tuning into another episode this week. Happy Friday if you're listening to this on a Friday, the day that it comes out. If you are in New Jersey, New York, Northeast Coast, you know we've been getting quite a bit of rain. So I hope that you guys are, just doing some things to boost your mood. If you're like me, sometimes like the rain and the gloominess and the cloudiness can make you feel like a little bit down. So I've been extra intentional with doing some things to boost my mood. Last night I went to a sound bath meditation. It was beautiful. It was freaking amazing. And I had a really good deep meditation. So also yesterday was a really good day for abundance and for manifesting. It was 888 if you guys are, into that. If not, if it sounds like super woo-woo, whatever. Okay. But we're always manifesting. That's the thing. Like, we're always manifesting. It doesn't just have to be some specific day. But if you are into like astrology, numerology, any of those things, you know that like there are certain days where the energy is going to be a little bit more potent, especially too with like all the solar eclipses that we have this year and stuff. Like, there's just such a big energy shift. I don't know if you guys can feel it, but there's a lot that's changing. Like, I'm sure people, a lot of people feel like they're changing. They feel like they're outgrowing things. They feel like they are ready to step into the next version of themselves. That's definitely how I've been feeling. I mentioned on the last episode, like, I'm going through a big transformation myself and I'm making a lot of changes. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably peeped my Instagram story the other day. The post was saying something about change, like, not staying in environments where you feel like you can't grow, basically. And I had put in that post, like, it's time for little mama to fly her wings. And I know like some of you guys responded and you're like, oh my God, are you moving? Like, where are you going? And I haven't really talked about this too much on the podcast, but, I grew up in New Jersey. If you guys don't know, I live in New Jersey and I've lived here my entire life. Like, I've lived here for almost 33 years and it's been great. I've learned the lessons that I need to learn. I've been able to grow this beautiful, beautiful, special community. It's been great. But there's also been challenges. There's also been times where I just feel like I'm ready to move on to the next chapter, and to be honest with you, like, I've always kind of felt this way, that I wanted to live in a different part of the country, if not outside of the country. And I just feel like I'm at the point in my life where I want to explore. I want to explore a little bit more. I got into solo traveling a couple years ago. If you guys don't know, I'm pretty sure there was a podcast episode where I talked about that, but I'll be talking about it a little bit more as well. And, I just feel like I'm at the point where I want to see more. I want to meet more people. I want to put myself in different spaces. I want to be inspired more. When people ask me about like Jersey, like for me personally, I don't know, something about like the energy just feels really stale. Like I said that to my friend the other day and I was just like, I don't know, it just feels stale. And I think it might not feel that way for everyone. And I'm not like trying to shit on Jersey or anything like that. And my family's here and all my friends are here. But for me personally, like where I see myself going and where I want to end up and just like what I want to see when I wake up every morning, as far as like environment. Also like the community, like I am someone that I'm in the wellness space. I want to expand more into that industry, into that space. And like, I need to be around more people who prioritize that, more people who are serious about their wellness, who like moving their bodies, who take their mental health seriously, who like to hike, who like to, do fun activities aside from just like sit in the house, And I think New Jersey is a really great place if you're trying to raise a family, if you have a family, if you just want to settle down and have like super calm, quiet life in the suburbs. Like, I feel like that's great, but that's not where I am right now. Like, I am not building a family. I'm not even thinking about dating right now. Like, I'm very much in my selfish era. Okay. And I'm doing me. Like, the past year has really just been about me, making decisions to end relationships, to end jobs, to leave environments, and I just feel like I'm being called into the next phase of my life, the next chapter. So I'm really excited to see where the next couple months takes me, even though I am, facing some really hard things right now and needing to make big decisions, but it's all preparing me and it's getting me uncomfortable. And God is just always working with us, even when we think that things are not going our way or not going right or nothing's ever happening for us. Like, that's not true. Like, things are always happening for you. Like, even when you can't see it, even when you feel like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to move past this? Like, it's happening for a reason. You're being prepared for something bigger. You're being prepared for something greater. So you just have to believe that. You have to have faith. I saw this post that was like, entrepreneurs, like, they have to have some crazy ass faith. And it's so true. Like, you really do. Not only do you have to believe in yourself as an entrepreneur, but you have to believe in God. You have to believe in the universe. You have to believe that things are always going to work out. If you have no type of belief, like no type of belief system in anything, it's going to be very hard for you to have a growth mindset and to really continue to propel forward. Like, you have to have some type of belief. So I wanted to just mention that before we get a little deeper into today's topic. So I have been reading this book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. I'll show you guys the book. Almost done with it. It's a pretty thick book. So it's taken me a little bit to read, but it's a great book if you are like a creative, if you are an artist, a musician, a writer, any type of creative. And he just like talks about basically how to become a better creative, like how to spark up new ideas, how to take action, how to listen to your intuition, which is like a really important thing when you are creative. Like, most of your creative ideas are going to come from your intuition and just like listening to those nudges and acting on those things. And also just being curious. He talks a lot in the book about listening to like your inner child and tapping back into the things that you really loved as a child, or, like, that is how you spark up creativity. So aside from that, this isn't a book review, but there was this one part in the book that I wanted to read to you guys and then kind of talk about it from there. So he says, the call of the artist is to follow the excitement. Where there's excitement, there's energy. And where there is energy, there is light. Okay. So when I read this, I was like, yeah, like, we spend so much time trying to figure out like what our purpose is, what we should be doing, where we should be working, how to make things happen for ourselves. And it's really what it comes down to is like excitement and energy, right? Like, what are you excited about? What lights you up? What do you enjoy doing, right? Where do you feel the most aligned? Who are the people that you connect to? Where are the places that you connect to, right? And that's why I wanted to mention like me having these thoughts and ideas of moving, because at the end of the day, like, if that's something that brings me excitement and I get excited and I get so happy, like thinking about moving to a certain place or just entertaining the idea, like, that means that like most likely that thing is going to work out. That thing is going to happen because now I'm putting energy behind it, right? I'm giving it momentum. And that's how things happen. That's how we manifest. We have to really pay attention to the things that light us up, make us feel good, those impulses, right? Those pings. If you guys listen to Be Magnetic, or anything about the expanded podcast, they talk a lot about pings, which is basically like, these little like signs and these little messages that come up anytime during the day, whenever. They can happen at night. Like, I get a lot of pings late at night, okay? Like midnight, 1 a.m. So it just depends on you. But in order to be able to hear these things, like, we have to learn how to, number one, be present. Number two, quiet your mind. And number three, trust yourself. Trust yourself. A lot of the times, like, we don't listen to ourselves. Like, we hear these things, we hear these impulses, we know what we have to do. We can hear ourselves saying it. Go, oh, post this. Oh, comment on that person's thing. Like yesterday, for instance, I was walking my dog and I had an idea to go visit the store that my journals are in. I hadn't stopped by for a while. The owner is so sweet. She's so kind. She's so nice. And I also needed to go pick up some incense, some Palo Santo spray, you know, like clean my space or whatever. So I went to go say hi to her, and she actually was the one who was having the sound bath meditation. And she was like, literally someone just called and canceled their spot. Like, we have one spot open tonight. Like, you should definitely do it. So I was like, okay, you know, so it kind of worked out, and it worked out, and it happened to be the most beautiful meditation because I listened to my intuition. I listened to that gut feeling of like, oh, let me go to this store, right? Let me go to the store. Let me talk to this woman. Let me see how my journals are doing in the store. Like, just those synchronicities. That's what it's about. That's what life is about. So yeah, when I read this, it was really just a nice little reminder for me to follow the excitement and also to really pay attention to where do I feel like I have the most energy, like when I'm doing things, because honestly, like, I always have things to do. As an entrepreneur, there's always things to do. There's a million things to do. There's a million things on the to-do list, right? But instead of being so like scatterbrained, like, oh, let me put my time here, let me put my time here, it's like, where do I have the energy right now, right? Like, even the podcast, you know, it would be nice for me to, I'm sure for you guys too, to know that the podcast is coming out every single morning. You wake up, the podcast is there. But for me, like, I have to add the energy to do it. You know, I have to have the energy to sit down, to record, to speak from the heart, to edit, to do all these things, right? Amongst all the other things that I have to do. So I'm really just listening to like my intuition and my energy. Like, where do I have the most energy during the day when I'm doing certain things? Like, you know, what time of day do I feel best when I'm recording the podcast? So just those small things. Okay, hold up. Before we get too real into this conversation, I wanted to let you know that registration is now open for both of our retreats coming up in 2025. We are going back to Arizona. Yep, back to where it started, baby. We're heading to Sedona in Scottsdale for 4 nights, 5 days to heal, to meditate, to ground ourselves, to have a deeper connection with ourselves. This is going to be a completely transformative experience. Join us for the Phoenix Rising Retreat from March 13th to the 17th, 2025. This is going to be amazing. If you've been asking about our first domestic retreat of 2025, well, this is it. We literally just opened registration. So reserve your spot. It's going to be freaking amazing. You can find all of our details on our website. And don't forget the Goddess Retreat in Greece. We're heading to Mykonos and the beautiful hidden gem Andros for 7 days, 6 nights from May 7th to the 13th. This is going to be an amazing experience if you're looking to connect with your feminine energy, if you're looking to soften, if you're looking to heal, if you're looking to really have a deeper connection with women and community and nature, and to really just soak in all that Greek goddess energy. So if you're interested and you're looking to take some time for yourself and start 2025 by putting yourself first and prioritizing your mental health, your self-care, your spirituality, your connection with yourself, then I invite you to register for our retreat. The only thing that's required to book is a deposit, and then you can make monthly payment arrangements up until January and February for the retreat. So any questions, feel free to hit us up at Real Hot Retreats on Instagram. Take a look at our previous retreats, see if you're feeling out the vibes, and we hope to see you there. I am going to end the podcast here because it's so dark outside and like I don't have my ring light, so I hope it's not super dark on the camera. thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode. I hope that you guys found this episode useful or helpful to you guys today. If you are someone that is thinking about making a big leap, whether that's a leap to move, whether that's a leap to quit your job, whether that's a leap to start something new, start a business, start a family, I just want you to really like sit down, get quiet, like close your eyes, meditate on it, and you will get the answer. You will get the answer that you're supposed to get. So just trust yourself, trust your intuition, ask for whatever it is that you need clarity on. Like God will always give you the clarity, and also ask for signs. Like I think I mentioned in a previous episode, like whenever I want clarity on something, I ask for a sign. And sometimes it could be something very specific. Like I'll ask to see a cardinal. I'll ask to see a blue jay. I'll ask to see a rabbit, right? So, and these things will come up. And then I know, I'm like, okay, God's listening. All right now. But yeah, so I just want to motivate you guys, like keep going. We're in a really challenging time. I think a lot of people are going through a lot of, difficult things right now, and just a lot of changes, personal changes, needing to, do more work on themselves. So give yourself the time to do the work, to recalibrate, to really regulate your nervous system. And yeah, guys, I hope to see you guys in another episode. If you enjoyed this one, please rate and review on Spotify or Apple if you're loving the show, if you're loving the podcast, okay? And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to this channel so you get notified whenever I drop new episodes on Saturdays and Wednesdays. And I will see you guys in another video. Take care, y'all. Peace.